All right. Welcome, everyone, to this very special episode. I say this every time, but I feel like this episode is for sure special because of the woman who is here today, who is a student and a client in the CLAIM program. I think, Toril, you're my first Norwegian on the podcast. So Toril is coming all the way from Norway. Welcome, Toril. Welcome to the CLAIM podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Why I say this is a special. I mean, you've been quite a special one. I'm not sure if it has to do. Actually, I'm sure that there might be some cultural differences and references because most of the women in the CLAIM program are in the US, and we do have quite a few women in Europe and like Australia and Asia, but mostly they are in the US. But in the CLAIM program, there's all kinds of women, and there's no good or bad or whatever, and they're sharing and expressing their own different way. But I feel like since you've joined the program, just witnessing you in your transformation and your journey and the way you're expressing yourself in our community is just something very unique and very special. And a lot of women, I think, resonate with what you're sharing, how you're writing, how you're thinking about this, what you're going through. I think you're giving a lot of hope and encouragement to a lot of women in the program. I know you've made some friends there already. And you've also been very supportive, I know, to the women in the group. I've read your post and I was like, oh my God, I'm sharing it with my team. I'm like, this woman is incredible. She needs to go on the podcast. So that's why you're here today. And I really want all the women to hear your story and what you're going through and what you've been through. Today, just before our episode, it was my time to check the Facebook group and reply to all the comments and posts. And I'm so happy. I literally read this post. I saw a post from you that was posted less than 24 hours ago. And I think it now is in the topmost commented in less than 24 hours, shall I say, in one of the most top commented posts in the community ever. So I would like for you to read it. And we're going to start with that. And then I'll be asking you follow-up questions. So whenever you're ready, Toril, I invite you to read your post.
Sure. Thank you. And thank you so much for your very kind words. All right. I'll just start them. Dear ladies, I just wanted to share my experience with dating and attracting men in the light of my path, which is I'm aiming to be as true as possible. Over and over again, I get to see and experience how the truth is the only way if I want to get what my heart truly desires. First and foremost, I can't let fear lead me. Whenever I discover fear is behind the steering wheel on behalf of my heart, which to me is my true self, I must stop and investigate how and why fear got to drive me, and then gently replace it with myself and my heart. To expose and investigate fear is the most important work to do if you want to be yourself fully and truly. And that's what we do in this program. So let me get specific about what I'm talking about regarding men and dating. I threw myself onto the dating scene about a month ago. I created dating profiles and added photos to them. My profiles weren't untrue, but they were constructed in a way I thought was suitable for attracting the right kinds of men. It was me, but with layers of construction. Layers of just in case, layers of just to make sure, layers of limitations, layers of fear. The constructions were my protection as I deep down inside was shit scared to take the leap into the dating world, exposing myself to men, risk being rejected and so on. Better play it sort of safe. And so I attracted a lot of men, several of them promising. Little did I know they were just vague outlines of the truly amazing men out there. I had anxiety throughout the whole attempt to start dating, and I quickly fell into old safe patterns when I interacted with the men. Like going along with the flirting and hinting around sexual intimacy, focusing on outer looks, being superficial when who I truly am is a very deep woman who wants a true connection on a deep, deep level, far beyond those easy-to-go-to solutions. I discovered that sex is another one of the many faces of my anxiety. Sexual arousal and sexual tension is easy, It's powerful, and I can let myself be led to think that sexual lust and intimacy must mean something. It's also easy to take charge of the man's interest in that way. But there's nothing deep going on, and I'm fooling myself to believe I'm connecting with someone, when what really is going on is that I'm afraid. So I choose the easy path to control the situation by pulling the sex card. After a week in the dating game, feeling like a nerve wreck, I burned myself to the ground by screwing up everything I had started, scaring the man off because I got eaten up by anxiety, which made me go completely masculine and take over the entire thing, pushing those poor men into corners as I couldn't stand waiting for them to move things forward. Anxiety needs validation right here and right now. Anxiety isn't safe in her own body and can't entertain herself or enjoy life if the man doesn't validate her 24/7. I hadn't slept the entire week, and my body was screaming to me the whole time, "You are going in the wrong direction." So I stopped. I deleted all the profiles and took a long, hard look into myself. I flowed. I journaled. I reached out to my support group in the program. What was I doing wrong? The answer? I wasn't being true. I was constructing myself, and as a result of that, anxiety got an invitation to take over the show and roll out her arsenal of destruction, like she's always done it. Solution? Dare to be true. Dare to be vulnerable. You want a solid man who takes care of you? Give him a reason to do it. Show your vulnerability. You want a man that loves you for you, the whole you and nothing but you? Be you. That's it. Be you. No pretending or constructing. I made a new dating profile based on a message from my heart. It was this: I'm a woman that's been running my entire life, but now I have stopped. First, I stopped so that I could recognize myself in my own heart. Then I decided to stay standing because I understood I didn't have to run anymore. I am to be found on a jetty. Here I am, scouting out at the ocean and the horizon. I'm looking for sailboats. If there isn't a specific sailboat out there that would come over and take just me on board, to meet the sailing of life as two and not as one. A bit about me. I'm 41. I'm a nurse. The child has left home. I have a dog. I live in the eastern part of the country. I dream of sailing and a life with much freedom in it. Words and music can move me, give me a gentle push and stimulate me to keep on moving and unfolding myself. This can appear as something creative, an insight, or a reflection which can be the basis for an interesting and exploratory conversation with the right person. I feel the same about nature. Experiences in nature touches something deep inside of me. My most precious moments usually occurs in silence, in the face of nature, where thought is absent and only the heart can seek its way into the moment, and later retrieve something from there which thought can express, something that underlines the meaning of one's mere existence, something that lifts up the day and lifts up the heart. I like to feel my body being alive, that it's capable and vital. Movement is important, just as important as laughing, a lot and often. I adore life. If this resonates with you, feel welcome to make contact. I'm waiting at the jetty. This was the words of my heart. I decided I wanted a reflection of my own love for myself and my life in the man I attracted. Has it worked? Hell yeah. I've attracted the most wonderful men. Attending, caring, loving men. Men that does what they say they're going to do. Men that are prepared to go the lengths needed to win me over. Pursuing men. Clever, beautiful, warm men. I'm enjoying this so much. Being calm, anxiety reduced to an extra in the background. She's trying to speak up once in a while, pulling my old strings, but I recognize her quickly and gently tells her to sit and stay sitting. I'm operating from a true place now. It's not always easy, but it's liberating. And carrying a makeup version of myself where I try to hide my flaws and pretend to be spotless is so much heavier than to carry my true self with flaws and all. And there's this one particular man. I know it's just a matter of time before I'll get claimed. I feel it. There's no rush, no hurry. It doesn't matter when it happens. I'm happy nevertheless, because I am me, living out to my true self. There's nothing to fear when there is nothing to hide. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. How did you write this? And how do you write all your posts and claim? Do you like wake up in the morning and be like, I'm going to share with the ladies, you know, just do it in one go? Or does it like come as an essay? I'm just really curious about your process.
Well, usually these posts will be the result of a flow.
So a flow, because sorry to interrupt you, Toril, because probably a lot of people don't know what is flow. Feminine flow is a feminine embodiment practice that as women join the claim program, I teach them to do it. And it's a daily practice, hopefully. I know it is for you, Toril, and you've been very heavily involved with this practice. And it's actually, I know that for you and for so many women, it's actually where a lot of revelations come. Well, they come from me as well. So sorry to interrupt. So that came in a flow, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or as the result of flowing, because the flowing or the feminine embodiment practice, as you mentioned, it's opening me up, you know. So I'm connected to myself in a complete different way than I used to be. It's like I have an open access to some kind of a source. I don't know even how to explain that so it makes meaning, but I have this connection. I have this source where I can find the solutions, the words, everything I need to know. And sometimes I just, you know, I write down a lot during and after flowing, because there's so much useful information coming to me. And I feel like I want to share it with the ladies because, like you said, it's this community is something really special, and we can all make benefit of each other's experiences. If it can move someone or inspire someone, that's, you know, that's really, I feel so grateful because I'm grateful for my experiences. But if my experiences can mean something to someone else, it's double the you know, the gratefulness. I enjoy it so much, and I feel safe, and it feels natural to share with other women.
Yeah, and as I said, you've definitely had an impact. And, you know, that's why this group is so special, because of women like you who share. And I truly believe, I mean, obviously I truly believe that every woman has access to that and she can share and stuff. It's just a matter of like, where are you in your development? But all the women that we attract into the claim program, because obviously everybody goes through a process. We don't work with everyone, but we make sure that the caliber of women, they're on the same path, they're at the same level of development, they want the same things. And so, yeah, really beautiful. So before we talk about, I have a few questions about your post, because you've shared quite a few posts that are very profound. And this is actually the first time we met, Toril, with you. And I was actually also quite surprised by your journey. And I'm always amazed by how women are so different. You know, some women come into the program and they need a lot of support. And that's okay. You know, like we have 2 twice-a-week group coaching calls. We've got a whole program with modules and guided flows. We have a whole community. And some women need a lot of support. Some women need a little support. And I have never talked to you on a coaching call. You have, I mean, you have asked questions in the group, so we've interacted in the group, but I've never, like, this is the first time I meet you. And so to me, and I've actually spoken to another woman who's quite the same. Yes, I'm always amazed by how a woman like you can take this work and interact with, and I'm sure you've attended some calls, and then interact with the Facebook group and use all these tools and have these incredible experiences. And again, women are different. Everyone has their own body, their own story, things like that. So before we get into your transformation journey in the program, and then I have questions about fear and anxiety and all of that, I think so many women resonated with your post, and a lot of women who listened. It's almost like a lot of women said, oh my God, it just landed in my body. Like, oh, like a water sigh of relief, because I feel like And I think you commented about this, in the program. Like, I teach women how to have your dating profile. Here are the 6 pictures. Here's how to write about all of that. And the whole dating app world, like, women hate dating apps. And I think you in your post have touched upon something so exquisite and so true, why they hate them. I mean, some women love the process, but I feel like my prediction, Toril, is the more you stay to your true self, your next level would to actually be full in your own truth and femininity, that you would want to take photos of yourself and post those 6 photos, not because you have to construct yourself and pose and whatever. So I'm actually at this level in my own journey, in my development, not with men, but with my business and with my marketing. And it's very scary because you're exposing yourself, right? Like, you have to select certain images and you have to, interact with a platform, but make it yours and stuff like that. So anyways, I feel like next level for you is to bring out all that truth and all the photos and really put it out there. But I think your post lands for so many women because they don't want to perform. And I've heard this so many times. Women told me on discovery calls, I'm done auditioning. It's like I'm auditioning for a husband and I'm done performing and auditioning. And that's the quality that I heard in this post. And so many are like, can I just be true? I just want to write this paragraph. And you also shared a photo. So somebody asks you, okay, cool. Like, this is your description, but what's your photo? If you're okay with that, Toril, we can also share it in this episode so people can see. You just said, I posted this one photo and it's a beautiful, obviously there's like Norway scenery and all of that. On every woman's bucket list, I think, is to go to Norway and Iceland and all that. And you're just, you're sitting, you're with a dog, you're with your dog, I'm assuming. You're just kind of petting the dog, looking into his eyes or her eyes, and there's a lake and it like accompanies your description so beautiful. And you're like, I don't fucking need 6 photos, and in a cocktail dress, in this and this, like, this is me. And you said, if a man is interested, he's going to message you. And so your strategy is working. And what I think, because you are attracting all these men, which I want to talk to you about. So the strategy, this one can work. Any strategy can work. And I think it will work if you are truly authentic to yourself, like you said, because that's the whole secret. It's not a secret, but it's truly the path. So before we talk about all of that and we unpack it, I want to hear first, Toril, where were you before you joined Claimed? What was you? She rolled her eyes. For those of you who are not seeing her, it's been quite a journey, hey? So where were you before you joined Claimed, and what touched you, or I guess what motivated you to invest in yourself and embark on this journey?
Yeah, I had to laugh because it's like going from A to Z, I was in a relationship when I joined Claimed. I believe it was November last year.
So that was about 6 months, more than 6 months ago, about seven. Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't working too well. I had been struggling with this person for quite a while. I didn't feel safe. I was stressed and frustrated. I wanted to change things. I was just sick and tired of feeling like this in relationships, and I wanted to do something about it because I had this anxiety going on, and I was thinking I have to do some changes about myself. So that was my motivation to join Claimed, to make some changes.
And what exactly wasn't working? So when you say anxiety, if you could just paint a picture for us, or maybe just describe with a couple examples, like what were the patterns, what wasn't working?
I was constantly afraid of being abandoned and left alone. I didn't trust the man. I didn't trust myself, obviously. I didn't feel good enough or worthy. This was subtle thoughts and feelings. Obviously, it wasn't alarming around in my head, but they're moving around under the surface, and it brings out a certain level of stress, a certain level of discomfort, and the feeling of always being on the edge, like I have to be prepared for something. Something's going to happen, something bad. I can't be left alone any minute. I needed reassurance all the time. And if he couldn't give me that, or I didn't even ask because I was ashamed of it. So I was just sitting there and hoping to hear something and hoping that he would make some plans, etc., to sort of verify me and the relationship. And, you get exhausted from having this kind of situation going on. So, yeah, I think that was more or less the situation for me.
Yeah. And I'm curious, Toril, because obviously you strike me as a woman who's done personal growth before. Like, this is not something that you had no idea about or whatever. And can you tell us a little bit about what have you tried before to work on it, to figure it out? What were some of the solutions you've tried?
Well, obviously I have stuff to deal with from my childhood. I'm not going to go into that material right here and now, but I've been going to therapy, obviously, like classic psychiatric therapy. I've tried so many different kinds of meditations. I went to hypnosis, different kind of alternative therapies. I've been around the spectrum of meditations and therapies, I can tell you.
You mean like Reiki and all kinds of...
Yeah, things like that. Healing, regression therapy, like you're going to your past and your earlier lives and so on. I'm not saying that these things didn't help me. Of course they did. But I didn't reach home. I didn't get to where I should come to. I was developing, obviously, but I still struggled. I think that the last therapy that I spent time with were individual-oriented psychodrama therapy. And that therapy is focusing on the body and the body's reactions, what's stored in the body. And I think that really helped me when I entered claim, because from that therapy, I was for the first time connecting with my body, because everything had been going on up here, until then. And suddenly I realized, oh, there's a body and it has a language and it has something to say. There's stuff going on in here that I never considered, never even thought about.
Yeah. So from this place, do you remember how you heard about Claimed?
It was, you can say it's a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences, but I was just scrolling through Instagram and suddenly you appeared. Like it was like a little advertisement or something. You were talking about polarity, masculine and feminine polarity, and I was like,
"What?" So you didn't know anything about polarity before?
I had never heard of any of those things before, but it made me so curious. I was like, what is this? This is something just kicked in, and I think that you used to have some kind of webinar or some short introduction, something you can sign up for.
Yeah, I still have it. It's a masterclass. Let me plug it in, claim.com/training. Everybody should go there and watch that. The same thing that Toril did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
The point is I didn't.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I just jumped right to the source, right away.
So what did you do? Did you see that and then you just applied for a discovery call or what?
Yeah, more or less.
How did you get the link? Because you kind of, through emails, you get it and then...
I Googled your website, and from there on, I just I ordered or whatever, signed up for a discovery call, because something about what you said in that short little advertisement and what I read on your page was like, yeah, I'm just going to check it out. I was so curious. So I didn't even need the works.
Yeah, so you skipped that big step that most women go through. And then what happened on the discovery call that made you sign up? Did you sign up right away on the discovery call?
I think I spent the day after like 24 hours thinking about it, and then I signed up. I was having the discovery call, not with you, but with one of your colleagues. She guided me through a drop-in, drop-in in your body. She asked me to visualize me being with a man, and she asked me how would I like to feel being with a man in a relationship, and that moved something in me. I started crying because I realized there and then I want to feel safe, and I didn't, and that was like a door opening, like, oh, that's the thing. I want to feel safe. The way she spoke about the program and how you work and what's going on, I realized, okay, this is a place where I can find the tools and the guidance to get to the point where I can feel safe.
Oh man, what a journey. And so as you started the program, tell me maybe 2 to 3 aha moments that you had. I mean, obviously, like one of the biggest things for you was the embodiment practice. I mean, it's very clear. It seems like you had an opening there with psychodrama therapy, you said, which I'm assuming is a form of somatic therapy. And, I know you've read the books and everything, but I always say, so embodiment, feminine embodiment in the way that I coach and teach and the way I've been taught, actually it's trauma informed, and its roots are in somatic therapy. Obviously it's not therapy. I'm not a qualified therapist. I'm just a coach. But that connection with the body is so profound. And, in somatic therapy, if you read the books like, I know you've read, Waking the Tiger, probably by Peter Levine, and Bessel van der Kolk, I think, about The Body Keeps the Score. I think you've definitely read that one. Somatic therapy is proven to be one of the most effective modalities in dealing with trauma and PTSD. So the door has been open, and then you get into the program and you start doing the flows and you start going through the modules. So yeah, 2 to 3 biggest aha moments that happened for you?
Well, I think that connecting with my female self, discovering what it's like to be a woman, what is the essence of a woman, of me as a woman, was one of them, because I really didn't have a clue. I wasn't connected at all. I realized I've been operating in my masculine like probably 90% of the time, from I was probably born till up to that moment, and to kind of to get home to oneself. That's the feeling. That's how I can describe it. It's amazing,
How do you describe it? So when you say connecting to your feminine self as a woman, coming home to your body and to your essence as a woman, like, what does that mean for you? I know you've kind of read already to us your profile, how you communicate it, but if you were to talk woman to woman and kind of describe what you're feeling, what does that mean? What has changed? Maybe specific examples of how you were, before and after, so to say. How does that look like for you now?
Well, I used to be ashamed of female stuff. Like I didn't want to. This is very simple examples, but there are examples to wear a lot of makeup, to wear like nail painting, to go dress up with high heels and stuff. Always made me very uncomfortable. Like that's something weak, something that you. Like I was talking down, I didn't respect women who were very female in their appearance. Or I know now that, of course, they scared me because I felt threatened by them. But it's not like I changed my looks a lot, but it just feels more natural to express myself in a female way regarding my appearance. Like I'm owning it, I'm proud of it. Nobody's going to tell me that you can't wear this or you can't look like that. And you have to be practical and you have to be prepared to do some work all the time. I enjoy being a woman to a much larger degree than ever before. That's just one example. Most of it's going on inside. And I think the world reflects that to me. The men around me, they changed, they are acting different towards me. It's like they appreciate me expressing myself in a more female way than I used to do. I can't, point out something I'm saying or doing, but I think they just pick up the vibe, like this is a woman and she loves to be a woman. And that makes me want to be a man, so.
Yeah. Do you have a specific example of that? Like, oh my God, I used to do this with men, or I used to say this or whatever, and now I do this and that, and it's a completely different result.
Yeah, like if a man wanted to open the door to me or help me in some way, it's like, no, I can manage myself, don't worry. I was like, tough. I don't need help. I'm not weak, I'm not helpless. And they're like, oh, okay. And now I let them, I said, oh, thank you so much. Wow. And I sometimes I can even like make myself appear more helpless than I am. Not to play games but because the men enjoy being helpful, to let them be men, to let them take place in their masculine role, so to speak. So I do it for them because it makes them happy, and it makes me happy when they can, provide and, and do the manly things they like to do, like opening doors, carrying my luggage, making sure I get home safely, those things.
So at this point, I have to ask you this question, and I'm happy that I remembered that because a member of my team has reminded me that you live in Norway, and we know that, should I say Nordic countries, or what's that, like Sweden, Norway, Iceland?
Yeah, the Scandinavian countries.
Scandinavian countries are very, very, well, first of all, they're, I think, the most egalitarian societies that we know of in terms of just this. What I want to ask you is exactly about this, because sometimes we get women on discovery calls and things. I mean, it's coming from American women as well, but I think American women are a much more kind of perceptive to that idea of polarity and everything. But I really want to ask you about this dynamic, the feminine masculine polarity, letting men be men, while living in a very egalitarian society. Like, there's nothing more 50-50. There's no more country that's more 50-50 than those three. And I've heard a lot of comments from women who lived in those countries or from those countries that are like, yeah, this doesn't work here. And I, of course, roll my eyes because, I mean, I think there's actually studies now that prove that even in the most egalitarian societies like Scandinavian countries, in the most egalitarian societies like Scandinavian countries, there's actually the most, not disparity, but the gender difference is one of the most, how do you say, visible or profound, especially like boys, girls, because when you just let people fall into their natural essences and categories, when there's no fights or whatever, they just do that. So I want to ask you about your dating dynamic, living in Norway, in such a society where it's like, we're 50-50 here. So where is the room for polarity in that? And what has been, and of course, polarity in the way that I teach, because I went deep down and into evolutionary psychology. It's not just some concept, but I dug deep and I understood and realized that, well, through research and everything, that it's not just some sort of a thing that we kind of choose to play. It's rooted deeply in our evolutionary psychology for men and women, because we had to, as we evolved, we had to develop certain mate preferences through evolution, and then that's what we find attractive and blah, blah. So yeah, I'm really curious. What do you have to say about that? How do you date as a feminine essence woman in Norway?
Well, this is only my experience, but I feel like when I open up the possibility of putting the polarity at play, so to speak, when the men I interact with get it, that okay, we can be a little bit more like, not traditional, can't find a better word for it, but I can be a man. It's like huge relief, it's like they've been holding up something uh, pretending in some way. Uh, they are extremely insecure. Like, how can I approach this woman? Because women nowadays, they don't want this and they don't want that, and they don't want to be helped or anything, and they are completely lost. It's like they don't even know where to start. But when I open that door, give them a little hint of some sort about this polarity, it's like they're just, oh, I can be myself. Bringing the polarity into the interaction is making things just going so much faster. They're getting really interested when they understand that this is a possibility. So I think it's pretty sad, that the equality is now so, it's like 50-50. Like you say, it's limiting us. We can't be ourselves as men, as women. Nobody knows exactly what is right or wrong, and it's like we're playing by some rules society put on our heads. And yeah, so some men, of course, can't handle it because it scares them that they get confused. They're not used to women who are, in her feminine essence, and are not paying for dinner and so on and so on. But it doesn't matter. Just let them go. Hopefully they learned something. Hopefully some little, some little spark from me can make them think differently. I don't know. But most men are grateful for being allowed to be men, which is the only thing they actually know what to do and how to be.
Have you had actual conversations about this with the men in your, so to say, funnel when you're dating? Yeah,
I have.
So they've expressed the same sentiment.
Yeah, they're like, "Wow, you allow me to be a man." It's like, "Thank you so much," and it's they're grateful. It's like a relief. So yeah, I've been speaking to them about it, and I make sure to bring up this subject pretty early on, because I don't want to waste my time on misunderstandings, And
And how do you bring up this subject, and when?
I can say quite early on, like it's important to me to feel like this. It's important to me to feel like that, and I like to be taken care of. It doesn't feel natural to me to chase men. But it's natural for men to chase me. Yeah, I'm not a hunter. I'm a woman. It doesn't feel natural. I'm using those kind of expressions.
Yeah, that's actually a
get
I
them
tip,
along.
and I teach. I don't necessarily call it feminine communication, but I always advise and recommend women, whenever we're communicating with men, especially in terms of our preference or something that we don't like, whatever boundaries, we communicate it with an accent on feelings, because a man can't argue with your feelings. Like, if you go into the logical brain, start analyzing and telling him this is why, he can counteract that, and then you get into this battle. But if you say, just exactly like you said, it feels natural to me to do this or that, or I feel this way, this is how you feel, and what is he going to do about that, To summarize the whole Scandinavia thing, ladies, and I have seen this, and I've read research about this and everything, polarities at play everywhere, no matter what, across cultures. They've done tons of research, or, studies, and research different cultures, age, whatever. In all cultures across the globe, polarity exists. Maybe not in the same words that I describe, but where we just play different roles. And so even in Scandinavia, you will be surprised, and will be a breath of fresh air, just like Toril is for so many men. I mean, in Scandinavia for sure, because I think that even like there, you'd probably be so different from all the other women. But in America as well, because that whole trend of, leaning, all of that is just not working for so many women. I'm in relationships. So the first aha moment for you is that connection with your womanhood, pretty much, and rediscovering yourself as a woman, which is a whole chapter module in the program dedicated to that. Anything else you want to share with us in terms of biggest aha moments?
Yeah, another one is we spoke about everything I've tried before claimed to help myself, to develop myself. And I'm not saying that the embodiment practice is therapy. It's not. It's just, being present in your own life and handling things and using it as a navigator, so to speak. So another aha moment is like how easy it is, how easy it is to get access to yourself, to find the answers, to find the tools, because they are here inside of myself. And all the work I've done, all the years passed by where I tried to help myself and develop myself, it was hard work, it was demanding, and this is so easy, and it's comfortable, and it's natural, and you can just go on the mat, on the floor, stay on my arms, hands and feet, and start, and that's it. I don't have to do any rituals, light candles, or do a lot of there's no rules. There's only me. I think that's how I can't even express how relieving it is to realize how easy it is to help yourself and find the answers through this practice.
So I know that you are a very introspective woman, and you must have thought about this a lot. Because, when we speak embodiment, it can mean so many different things, working with the body. Let's talk about it in the context of the feminine embodiment practice that, I teach in the CLAIM program. And obviously I didn't come up with it. I learned it myself and changed my life. I saw so many benefits, and then I started coaching and teaching these practices to women. How do you actually explain it? And I think I have to note it, because I think many women can just listen to this and be like, oh my God, this is it. This is the missing piece. This is kind of like the magic pill. I mean, so sometimes it is, like maybe it was for you. You haven't even asked me a question on a coaching call. You haven't been in the hot seat, whatever. There's different women who come into the program, and their journey is not like yours. I would say most of the women who set the intention and dedicate themselves to the practice and trust the process, they get there eventually, like you did. But it just looks differently, and their timeline might be different. And I think in your case, and I'm really curious just to hear how you explain it. I think you were primed, like you were prepared. Your body was maybe ready for all of this. Yeah, I mean, I have a few other kind of thoughts about it, but I'm curious. Why do you feel that this practice, which is, it is simple. It's like feminine flow, 5 minutes a day to start with, just, my guided practice, put on music, like it's yours. Why do you think for you this was kind of the missing piece that was the answer to such a deep connection and transformation to you?
Well, I think that the answer to that is this practice is going on in the body. It's not going on in the head. It's not thought work, it's heart work. And if you search out there for instance, different kinds of meditation practices and stuff, visualizations, affirmations, that's all going on in the head. And it demands a lot of concentration, a lot of presence, actually a lot of work, which makes it a demanding process. It's not something easy. It's like a little struggling, So the embodiment practice is, it's you just open the access is so easy. It doesn't have to make any effort. Just turn off the head and feel into your body.
Yeah, if it would be that easy, Toril, as you're describing, I want you to go in the Facebook group every day on video and just say, it's so easy, ladies.
Yes.
Just turn off your heads. That is actually the hardest I guarantee you that most women, even the ones in CLAIM who are dedicated to the process and doing it, find they would rather go and think about it, because that's their natural disposition, to go up in the head, create a story, analyze, talk, than actually turn it off and drop it. That's the hardest thing that I'm working to help them get there, that get out, drop down, down, down. The story doesn't matter, right? So that's my work in Claimed with all the women. But for you, there was a click, That's why I think your journey, and I want to be very transparent about this, I think it's possible for so many women to have a similar journey as you, but your journey is different because you were, I think, primed for it. Because I think most women are not like, oh yeah, it's so simple. Just switch off the head and drop into the body,
It's not like I don't have the recipe. I'm not saying that everybody should do like I do, but if someone's listening to this, and I can ask the question, aren't you tired of your own head, of your own thinking and all the worries? Aren't you just sick and tired of it? Because I was sick and tired of myself, of my thoughts, of my anxiety, constant milling around in my stomach. I'm just like, I don't want this anymore. And if you don't want it anymore, you have to do something about it. And the bubbling and the chattering, it's going up in here. It's here, it happens. If you can switch that off, it's a relief. Why wouldn't you want it? And if you can't be able to, then you have to ask yourself, why? Why am I clinging on to the thinking and constant worrying, the same thoughts again and again, the same questions? Why?
And how do you explain that process of transformation? I guess now I'm coming to your post where fear, I think, is the most common word that you used in your post. Fear, anxiety. I thought it was so interesting that you bring up sex, and that's why you had so many comments, and it landed for so many women, because we know, we don't talk about it, but we know the power that we have in the bedroom or in the flirt or in the dance or in pulling that in or, exposing some cleavage or a short skirt. Like, we know. My phrase was always, put on a red short dress and some high heels and watch the patriarchy crumble at your feet. So we know, but we just don't talk about it, and we use, as you said, I was pulling out that sex card, so to say, to cover up. And I feel like so many women do it. Yeah, you say it wasn't true and there was fear and anxiety. And so how do you work with that? And what happened in the program that allowed you to shift and transform and basically get to the truth and to being you and not pretending or constructing or, performing, auditioning, like trying to be someone that you're not because deep down inside you were scared. And I guess there were limiting beliefs also kind of reinforcing that.
Well, I can make an example of that because when I started dating, when I created my first profiles and so on, I made contact with men, and they were great men, absolutely. But I was afraid. I had anxiety because I felt like I was selling myself or auditioning for a husband, like you said. When you're afraid, you easily lose contact with yourself, and it's quite easy to fall back into old patterns. This one particular man, he was very promising, and we established some contact of high quality, I will say, early on. But also he started talking about sexual stuff, not offending, not something, that was not appropriate, but he brought it up and I got along with it. And when I did, and when we started playing on those, I don't know, strings, the anxiety aroused, it became even louder. Because of the program, I am now able to be in touch with myself on a total different level than before. So when my body is speaking to me, it's very loud. I can't ignore it because the channels are open, so to speak. And I was like, what's going on? This is good stuff. This is fun. This is going somewhere. Why is the anxiety coming up? And it's alarming. And then I realized of course, flowing on it, checking in on myself, checking in on my body, what's going on. This is wrong. You are not true. You're playing games to play on sexuality and to bring up sexuality and use that as like something to attract a man, and to go there this early on these terms. It's not what you want. This is a strategy because you want to have control of the situation, because you're afraid, and you are afraid and scared because you're not yourself. So I learned that anxiety is not an enemy. It's not something to be scared of. It's actually just your body telling you you are not doing the right thing for you. You are going in the wrong direction. It's a signal. When I took myself seriously, when I took my body seriously, because it was communicating to me, and ended that communication, ended that strategy, everything just fell into peace. It was like my body's like, yeah, oh, thank you. Thank you for stop playing the games. Thank you for coming back to yourself. And I was surprised because I hadn't thought about it. Like sex is a mechanism of fear
for women
to take control.
Right. Because that's the card that we use, right? That is where the it's not where the power is, but it's where we feel powerful over men, right? We pull the sex card because this they will always want sex, right? But they can't get it. I mean, that's something that they have to work for, right? And so we either give it to them or don't give it to them. So it's this constant power play where he always wants to get into your pants, and it's like, do I give it to him or not? It's like this. You are playing a game with that, and a lot of us, I've definitely used that unconsciously, or haven't used, didn't realize my power. Yeah, and you just remind me of the fact that our body has all the answers, actually. Our mind constructs and makes up stories and makes us feel safe. Like, it's so interesting. And that's why when I stumbled upon the embodiment work, it was a game changer. And it still is. The amount of information that gets into my head now, like, I don't have the capacity that I had before for sitting in front of the computer, for listening to podcasts. Like, I just can't. Like, even reading stuff is very hard for me now because I'm so attuned to it, and our body is always speaking to us. I love what you're sharing, Toril, and I could talk to you for hours. I really like when you were reading this, I'm like, do you want to be my girlfriend? I feel like so many women would just drop into that and be like, can we meet up for a coffee? And this is like the true power, because you're speaking from your vulnerability, from your heart, where it's very clear and I can feel there is resonance and it's landing in my body, like, you're not playing games. You're not here to like tricks or whatever. You're speaking from the heart. And that's what we have in the claim community, which I'm so proud of.
You should be proud of it. It's wonderful. It's so special.
Thank you. I mean, it's not only me. I've created it, but the level of support and conversations and all of that is very heart to heart based rather than a story. So we got to finish off here, Toril. And the last question I have for you is, to all the listeners or viewers who perhaps are currently where you have been, where they maybe are in a relationship or even single, but they're seeing these patterns. They've tried different things. That these are the women who we work with. They're successful in their own right, but there's something missing. What would you tell them about maybe taking that next step? Maybe watching the webinar first and then applying for a discovery call. But maybe, they're like you. They would listen to this discussion and be like, there's something here. I need to talk to someone. So I'm just going to throw in the links, and then you tell us about it, and then I'll end with like, here's where to sign up for the training. Here's where to book your call. So what would you tell them? What would be your message to them?
My message to them, to every woman, because I believe every woman deserves this possibility. I would say, if you want to invest in yourself and in your life, To me, I think that I can speak for several. It's the best investment I ever did for myself and for my life. So if you want to transform yourself and transform your relationships with men, you should do it, because this is the greatest gift you can give to yourself, and that's truly coming from my heart. Truly, I'm very, very grateful for your program, Anna, because it has helped me in ways I didn't even thought possible. And I think every woman deserves to reach herself. Yeah, just do it. There's no reason not to do it. It's what we need, and it's what the world needs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a whole separate conversation about the world needing that. Not only you men, but also the world needs it, and future generations and everything. All right. So for everybody listening, if you were like, oh my God, this is like a total yes, body yes, don't get into your head, and you're like, I'm ready to speak to someone about the program and joining and whatever, go to claim.com/apply. There's a quick short application. And then if you qualify, you'll be sent to a calendar to book a call and speak to a member of my team if this is a great fit for you. Or if you want to know more about like methodology and what are the steps and what are the pillars that we're working through in the program and what's the journey to attracting different types of men, go to claim.com/training. Toril, thank you so much. I am so happy that we have connected. I can't wait to release this episode. I know all the women in the program, they're like, I want to talk to Toril. I want to hear her story. Hopefully you can come also to wholesome calls for the ladies in the program. And yeah, thanks so much. And we shall speak again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to Anna. Thank you.